Hey guys, I'm going to read 2 pages for social studies today. If you want to follow along, it'd be great. If you want to read it on your own, that's fine too. So I'm going to start here. This is all about the daily life of not only the men, women, but we're also going to read about the children as well that in a Native American environment and culture. So if you want to follow along with me, it'd be great. In general, Native American men and women had clear roles. Both roles were vital to group survival. Women played the central role in gathering and preparing food. If there were farms, fields, or gardens, women were responsible for them. They also gathered wild foods such as nuts and berries. After a successful hunt, the women butchered the bison or cleaned the fish. Women were also in charge of family and home life. A key task was caring for children. In addition, women made clothing and other household goods. On the plains in north-central part of the United States, this task included preparing and sewing bison skin. In the Pacific Northwest, a woman might make clothing using cedar bark. For nomads who moved often to search for food, household work meant moving the house too. Plains women, for example, took down teepees and put them up in a new camping place. So before I move on and talk about the roles of the men, you can clearly see the women had a very, 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 very important job in helping the survival of their Native American family and their Native American community. Not only with finding food, cleaning the food, moving their house if they had to, making clothes for the children, making clothes for the family. I mean, they had such a very, very important role in helping the Native American family survive. So I think that's very important. There's a lot of great information here about the different roles or different jobs or responsibilities that women had in a Native American culture. So let's read about the Native American men. Native American men did the hunting and fishing for their village and family. While women usually tended crops, men handled some key agriculture tasks. For example, they helped clear fields for planting. Men's work also included protecting the community when different groups came into conflict over land. Men also traveled from the village on trading missions. So it really seems like the men were those who would lead as far as they'd go hunting, they'd go fishing. Um, they would help protect their family, and they would also leave in case they had to go to other villages to maybe trade as well. So men also had a very, very important role in helping, the Native American community, their Native American families survive. So really great paragraph here about how women and men really work together to make sure their family survives and their family is successful in their environment. So let's read about the children, what their roles were. You might be able to compare this to yourself. Like think about if you were a Native American child, or if you were born way back then. This is what maybe you would have to do as far as roles go. So let's read. Native Americans treasured children and believed they had a special connection to the spirit world. Young children were watched carefully by their parents and the whole village. They stayed close to their mothers to be fed and protected. They helped mothers in their work. Childhood, however, was short, so they didn't really have a full childhood because they have a lot of responsibilities. Children became adults in their early teenage years. Both boys and girls began training early to learn the roles of men and women. Boys had to prove themselves in difficult tests, such as spending time alone in the wilderness. Girls also learned wilderness skills, such as how to gather food. Both boys and girls learned from storytellers who pass on the group's tradition. So, a big thing that the children had to do, sorry, the big thing the children had to do is they had to train at an early age to understand their roles when they became adults. So, like the boys really had to learn how to protect their family. They had to learn how to hunt, fish, They had to learn how to, help clear fields for planting. Whereas, girls, when they got older, they also had to learn their wilderness skills as well, like how to gather food. They probably had to learn how to clean the food, like their like their mom did. They probably had to learn how to, right here, for example, they took down teepees and put them up in the new camping place. The girls probably had to do all that stuff just to train, so they knew what it was like when they were older. So although they were, young, they still had to do a lot of their responsibilities. So, but right here it talks about, they also had fun. So let's read this part here. Of course, both Native American children and adults also had fun. Some groups held celebrations to mark key events in a child's life, such as the first fish caught. Children also played many games, some of which taught skills they would need. For example, the people in northern woodlands played a form of lacrosse. Playing the game prepared young men to be hunters and warriors. So, like we talked about before, different cultures, they're going to celebrate in different ways. Okay. So, that's also very important as well. Just like the jobs of men, women, and children, depending on where they live, the roles are going to change. Okay. So, hopefully, you learned something about the roles of men, women, and children, and hopefully, this helps you with answering the questions on those slides and really helping you fill out that chart about the roles of men, women, and children. Make sure you're using details from the text to help you out. Make sure you're spelling things correctly, and make sure that you are putting as much detail on those answers as you can. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.